Welcome to the Modern IT Podcast, a podcast where we discuss big and small challenges, possibilities, and awesomeness related to public and private clouds, and how to running a modern IT in the evergreen state. My name is Christian, and I work as an IT consultant with the main focus on all different Microsoft products. I work at a small consulting company, so I need to be able to work on almost anything that comes my way. And my co-host is
Michael, and I am a cloud architect working in the enterprise segment. I focus on cloud transformations, leveraging Microsoft Azure.
great. Today we were thinking about going through two topics. Number one, Ignite. There's been a lot of information from Ignite this week. So we'll go through on how you can download and watch the latest videos. And we are going to talk a little bit about Azure Files. So let's start with Ignite. Michael, did you have?
Yeah, Ignite. It's a technical Microsoft event that every Microsoft IT nerd would want to go to,
True.
including me.
Me too.
I had an interesting reflection the other day. Ignite, they said it was around 30,000 people, which is big in my opinion.
Yeah.
But then I read something about Salesforce. They ran Dreamforce, is what they call their big conference, and they had 170,000 people.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's quite interesting.
Yeah.
But anyway, at Ignite, there's a lot of content that we could dive into. And if you were on site, you probably weren't able to go to all the session. Most likely not, because there's a lot of overlapping. I tried to build a schedule for myself, and like on Tuesday, I had 5 to 8 overlapping sessions during some of the periods, and it was like maybe I'm too interested in everything, or maybe it's just too much content.
Yeah. Probably the last one because there came a lot of content. I wasn't there, I was working, but I still wanted to, follow the videos and all, but it was a lot. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Looking at them now will be great.
Yeah, I usually there's always someone coming out with a script, download session script, and every time Microsoft has had these conferences, before it was TechEd and now it's Ignite, um, the scripts that worked last year doesn't work now, so there's always a bit of tweaking.
Yeah.
But finally, I think I found one that works. It worked the last 2 days. I tried it at least.
Okay. That's
So
great.
yeah, so we will put links to the script in the show notes, and yeah, just follow the guide there, and you'll be able to download all of it. I read somewhere that it is 1,300 videos something, and the total amount is 313 gigabyte if you use the default settings.
Okay.
That's pretty interesting.
And the default settings is not 1080p,
It's
I
not the
guess.
yeah, it's not the high res
No.
session.
So basically, a lot of information available.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. So how can we download the files?
Yeah, so we will put the link in the show notes to the session, no, to the script, and then go in there and download them. Download it.
Yeah. But where do you find what kind of videos you want to look at? Because I'm assuming you have to enter some ID there, right?
Yeah, so in the script, you can type in a topic. For example, the example given for the script is Teams. So you could download all whatever had Teams in their session name. But if you're more into like knowing the specific sessions, you can go to techcommunity.microsoft.com and click on Ignite sessions. And there you can browse through the whole session catalog, and where you can filter it according to your preferences. If you like theater sessions or breakout sessions or certification preparation sessions,
Okay.
you can filter all of that. Then you get the session ID. Then you use the script and you enter the session ID and you get the content.
Right. I see the session catalog is filtered after the days as well. So if you were there, maybe you want to look through the days and
Yeah, that's also something you can do. But boy, is there a lot of content.
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Almost too much. It's hard to keep up.
and I have to also put in, like, usually it's not all IT professionals that goes there. It's also like end user customers or someone that's ramping up their IT department. And if you look at one of the sessions, they might be showcasing future features, and then you have to wait for the features to be there a couple of months. And once the features are there, they are not they're still not really ready. So that's like something you should keep in mind, that don't buy into the whole demo presentation. Be more objective and try it out yourself before you believe it.
Okay.
Hard learned lessons.
Yeah, usually are. Yeah. Uh, is there anything else on want to go through or?
No, like there's something for everybody. If we go through if you're gonna start talking about the news and what was like the big focus, yeah, we can spend a couple of podcasts on that. Um,
Yeah. L-
but you probably read it already in social media streams everywhere. So
I feel like this is being covered from everywhere, so
yeah,
maybe we'll go to something more specific.
yeah, let's do that. Let's go to the Azure files.
Yeah, Azure Files went to public preview during Ignite, right?
Yeah, it did. Well, Azure Files has been there. The public preview is the access control list features.
Yeah, the Active Directory integration.
Yeah,
And that is one thing I've been waiting for. I do work with a lot of small companies, and for them to be able to just buy space and be able to use their Active Directory accounts and access data.
yeah, that feels like a big deal breaker if you're
Well,
gonna use.
yeah, it is because then there's no server maintenance. They don't have to buy new servers. So yeah, I think that will be a very popular product. And if I'm not mistaken, I think it was one of the most requested features, right, with Active
Yeah,
Directory integration.
yeah, it was, and now you could go into the user voice and see what's the next biggest requested feature.
Okay, that is.
I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah,
I
please.
usually do that when I'm talking about service. There's always two things I check. It's always the user voice, because if you look at the documentation, it doesn't always tell you that, yeah, this function is not available. But if you go
Okay,
into the user voice and read like the top 10 requested features, you quickly get a view of what's lacking in the service.
okay. So that's
Take that into account.
yeah, that's a great advice.
Yeah,
Well,
but
I can go on about my Azure files while you look that up.
yeah,
So I talked to a company that are talking about moving some of their infrastructure or services to Azure, and they're not connected there yet of today. And this was one of the things that they were very interested in. So this week I'm going to set up Azure Files with Active Directory as a test study, and I'm going to document it all, creating Active Directory, creating users, setting up the storage, connecting it all, and at the end, how to use a PowerShell script to map the Azure storage to your computer, your client.
That
And
sounds like a step-by-step guide I want to read.
thank you. Well, hopefully someone will find it useful. I know I will, since I have to make the presentation if this is something good for my client company to use or not. Yeah, I was thinking maybe I can do that, and within a couple of podcasts we can go through the end result and see if I was happy with the result and what kind
Yeah.
of issues I found.
If we talk about the more like business-oriented, let's say the more business-oriented wise to the why the customer is looking at this, or is it you that is recommending it to them?
No, I was kind of just called into this because they were actually trying to use their SharePoint for this particular application that they are working on as storage space, and they wanted to kind of use it like a file server with writes and map it like a G drive or something.
Yeah.
And it's not really cut out to be used that way, SharePoint. There are some custom scripts to use, but I've had some very bad experience with that. When they change stuff, everything breaks, and you got a mad customer. So no.
If you mention custom anything,
yeah,
from a service, that it's always
yeah, it is what it is.
Let's think about it twice before we do it.
Yeah, and I was speaking to a colleague and just mentioned that this is going to public preview soon, and he was like, that's kind of what they're looking for, so why don't you come to the meeting?
Yeah, so the Active Directory
yeah, that's the main part.
That was like the reason you haven't done it before then.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. And as I understand, for this to work, you have to do it through Azure Active Directory domain services for it to work.
Yeah.
That means that you need to have, it's like an extended forest, standalone forest to your current AD. And that extended forest talks to the Azure files.
And there was a different price tag, I think, as well, licensing wise. I'm not sure, but I'm going to check that up.
It's more like I wouldn't call it license cost. I would call it the service usage cost.
Yeah. Okay.
And but I'm looking at the user voice now, the feedback.azure.com, where you can go in and put in a suggestion on a feature for a service. And the top one is ACLs for Azure files.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's in preview now, but they still have it marked as planned.
Okay. So yeah. Well, it's preview, so.
Yeah, that kind of shows you that there's no commitment on a SLA from them yet.
No.
This is also interesting. What I found from some of the projects I've been in, that if a service is in a private preview or a public preview phase, usually you get quicker support than after it has gone GA. And that is because they want the service to work, of course, and they want to have it fixed so they can roll it out in a bigger scale. It's a smaller, focused group that can help you if anything goes wrong.
Okay, so it might be useful as well to be in the public preview.
Yeah, definitely. And if you, let's say now you're gonna set the Azure Files up, and you're gonna start using it and trying it out. And if you run into any issues, you raise a ticket immediately, and someone will try to help you. And once the service is GA'd, you probably have a lot of experience around the service, and you also made friends with some of the supporting people. So if the service would fail once it's GA, you probably have better channels to get more help. Let's say that.
Yeah.
And I don't think this doesn't apply everywhere and all the time, but
no, of course
it has worked sometimes for me.
Yeah, I found that using Twitter, their support Twitter was actually very useful, because I registered a standard ticket for a corrupt media. I could download it, but I couldn't install from it. So I was waiting like 2 days and still nothing. So I went to their Twitter support page and kind of your media is broken. Can you please fix this? And I think it took like 5 minutes, and I got a response, because that's bad press,
Yeah.
And maybe 15 minutes later, he responded with a new media and the download link. So perfect.
Yeah. I also used Twitter a couple of times, and like 4 minutes and 6 minutes. I have usually it's 4 minutes the reply time. So I'm thinking maybe they have like a bot or something that does the
usually it's someone
the
who
evaluation.
Yeah, maybe the standard bot. Hi, how can I help you?
And they usually the reply is, can you DM us more details or an error message or something.
Yeah.
But once you do that, I had an issue, and that was quite complicated, and it took me actually around, as I recall, around 40. I think it was 47 minutes until I actually got it resolved from I put it on Twitter.
Yeah.
And that was a complicated issue. And that was impressive. I wouldn't have, if you would have done it through a regular ticket, it would have taken like 2 days maybe.
Yeah, exactly. It seems like Twitter is a lot faster.
So now we're telling everybody to use Twitter, and
exactly,
then the support there will be bad.
Yeah.
No, I think Microsoft is actually trying to live up to all their promises on the support level. So just keep on tweeting to them.
Well, the Azure Files case study is going to be interesting for me. I'm very looking forward to that one.
Yeah. How much data are we talking about?
Like 700 gigabytes. I think the current file storage limit is like 5 terabyte, but not a lot.
No, it's actually 100 terabyte now.
Yeah, they changed.
Ignite.
Yeah, okay, so they changed during to the public preview.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, there's different levels if you want to have standard and premium. I think I haven't read into the Azure Files actually, but from what I glanced through some of the announcements, I think they had bigger IOPS depending on the level you choose.
Yeah. Yeah, I looked through it a bit, and but I think that was like in a pending.
Yeah,
but
you have to clarify all the Azure Files questions for us.
Of course. Yeah, it will be a good one. Small companies don't need like rarely needs like 5 terabytes. So even there, it was a lot for.
One of the features here is I worked a lot with Store Simple when Microsoft acquired them, and they had this deduplication function and the hot and cold storage tiering.
Yeah.
So, and I've seen that this feature is also in the Azure File Sync. So on the agent that you install on the servers on-prem, you set the percentage on how much you want to store locally, and rest gets tiered to cloud depending on if it's used or not. And
Yeah,
that's a
for Azure File Sync.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a nice one because if you want to promote Azure File Sync to, they're talking about maybe they can add more disks or whatever, and they want still use their old hardware. That's a pretty good solution to maybe keep like 30% on their server and push all data to the cloud.
Maybe we should clarify what difference from Azure Files and Azure File Sync.
Yeah, so Azure Files is storage only in Azure. So you kind of map it like an SMB drive. And Azure File Sync, then you use a computer, a server on your own infrastructure with an application that syncs up to the, and you can choose how much hot and cold data you want. So files that are accessed often will be stored locally, so you get a low latency. And like archived files or files that are not accessed as often will be stored in Azure clouds.
So in your case study, you will only be using Azure Files and no File Sync.
I think so, but Azure File Sync is an option. But I haven't spoken to them about. They were kind of leaning to this idea. They like the idea.
So, but in Azure File Sync, you have then you have in a corporate network, you would have the files closer to you, and depending on if you're using it often or not, you would have direct access to through the corporate network.
Exactly, and that's the main point. You can get low latency on.
Yeah, and if you do Azure Files, you communicate directly with cloud all the time.
Yeah, so it's like using your SharePoint. The latency will.
Yeah.
But I like both techniques.
Yeah, and it's if you start with Azure Files and then you down the road feel that you need to implement file sync, it's a minor operation, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, it all depends on what you're going to use it. This is more like not that heavily accessed files, so the latency won't be much of an issue. But if it's
is it big files or is it just random corporate?
They will be files? Good enough for them.
Do you, in this case, maybe you have to do some network planning also, or at least assessment on the load on the network?
Their network connectivity is really good, but the issue that might come up is how fast is it from Azure,
Yeah. And if they have let's say, 20 gig file that they need to read, it can take a while.
Yeah.
And if you have 10 people accessing it at the same time from a smaller company,
yeah, then it could be an issue. It all depends. In this specific case, I don't think it will be a problem because it's not a heavily used application, and it's going to be application data.
Yeah.
But they just don't want it.
Yeah. Right tools for the right purpose, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'll set it up and we can talk more about it next time. Hopefully, if I'm done.
Yeah. Sounds interesting. Are we ready to wrap this pod up or?
I think so. Let's
Yeah.
go through the end notes and look forward to the next one.
Yeah. Our first podcast.
Yeah, amazing. We've listened
Uh,
to so many podcasts. It's like an addiction. So why not start now?
yeah. And I'm learning a lot about Azure Files.
Yeah,
It's yeah, it's cool.
that's great.
So we wanna do like a call to action uh, at the end of our podcast, and the call to action to people listening, if there is anyone,
Yeah,
is to yeah, ping us on social media, and we will have everything on in our show notes. Also links to the session downloader to Ignite, to Microsoft the tech community links, and other links that relates to Ignite. Actually, we can also put in some links to Azure Files. I think maybe you should put that up there.
yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to make a video of setting up Azure Files as well, and you can see that on our YouTube page.
Yeah, great.
All right. Thanks for
Well,
today.
yeah. Thanks for
Okay.
this episode.
Thank you.
Until next time.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.